Welcome to the Parklands Secondary Faculty Honours and Academic Ceremony. Tonight is going to look a little different as we bring our awards directly into your home. To our principals and directors, Mr. and Mrs. Roth, Mr. Nags and the Board of Directors, and to all other special guests joining us from home, to all the educators, the present head prefects and deputy head prefects, the rest of the learners and parents, a warm welcome to you all. This evening's proceedings serve three major purposes. Firstly, to provide you with important information right at the start of the academic year. Secondly, to acknowledge all the academic achievers of 2020. And thirdly, to award college honours, the highest accolade that the college may bestow on a learner. We start this evening with a performance by Libu Mavume and Emma de Goede, performing Bayateta.
Bathetha ngegama lam, bahleli ngegama lam, bayathetha, bayathetha, bahleka ngentloni zam, bathetha ngobomi bam, bayathetha, bahambela phakude bothetha kude kuse bazintoni dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu bayathetha owakuncedukhala abantu balo mhlaba bayathetha bazintoni bahambela phakude bothetha kude kuse bazintoni dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu dimhle ditombi enesidima dihambela phezulu bayathetha owakuncedukhala abantu balo mhlaba bayathetha.
Thank you, Libu and Emma, for that wonderful performance. We welcome our principal, Mrs. Steyn, for her opening address.
Good evening to everyone joining us online for this prestigious event, which normally marks the start to the academic year. We would have liked to have our Parklands family gathered together, as it has been quite a while since we've been able to do so. However, let that not deter us from the celebration of excellence tonight. In December of 1980, my husband's aunt bought a trinket she really liked at a flea market. When she brought it home and proudly showed it to her friends and family, she was warned that it would bring bad luck to her home. She lived in Laingsburg. In January of 1981, the big flood hit Laingsburg and destroyed their home and the entire town. When they went back to their home after the flood, everything was gone, but the trinkets somehow got stuck and didn't wash away. Until her death, she felt responsible and guilty for bringing the flood to Laingsburg. In January 2020, I addressed you at the first official event of the year, this very same event we are having tonight, although in a different format. Looking back at my speech, I see this is what I said. I couldn't be more excited for 2020. It has such a special ring to it. Learners, let's be excited together. Let's make this a year you will tell your children about one day. Now, I'm not going to take responsibility for the pandemic like the dearly departed Auntie Krista did for the Laingsburg flood, but I'm going to choose my next words very carefully. What are we asking of 2021? I'm going to take you back to the 80s and a song by the American rock band Journey, Don't Stop Believin'. Yes, the 80s were way before many of your time, but you might have heard the song and in the movie and musical Rock of Ages. Don't stop believing in yourself and your ability to adjust to change. 2020 proved that. Don't stop believing that out of bad situations, good lessons can be learned. 2020 proved that. Don't stop believing that the future belongs to you. Use 2021 to prove just that. In the words of Dieter Uchtdorf, it is your reaction to adversity, not the adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. Don't stop believing. You didn't see that one coming, did you? One of the most valuable lessons we can take from 2020 is that good communication is vital. We need to know, understand, and support what we are doing and why we are doing it in a particular way. It is for this reason that I urge you to read the Secondary Faculty Weekly blog, which is shared every Friday afternoon. It contains important information with regards to events and the daily operations at the college, as well as giving feedback on what has happened in the previous week. In order to cut down on spamming your inbox with mail, we enter all relevant information in the weekly blog. That should always be the first place you go to look for information. Included in the blog every week will be the names and contact details of the grade heads. Please always contact them first with any queries and concerns, and they will direct you to the correct person. And if you forget all other email addresses, mail secondary@parklands.co.za and your mail will be forwarded to the relevant person. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Secondary Faculty Management Committee to you. They efficiently steer the different spheres for which they are responsible to ensure that we maintain our commitment to excellence at the college. Associate Principal, Academics and Digital Learning, Mrs. Vosloo. Associate Principal, Innovation, Mr. Mayers. Head of Culture, Ms. Dodders. Head of Sport, Mr. Pillay. Academic Coordinator, Mrs. Strauss. Learner Affairs Coordinator, Mr. Varden. Events, Service, Clubs and Societies Coordinator, Mrs. Schmidt. Equity and Diversity Liaison, Ms. Manyati. In closing, 2020 has taught us that we cannot take time, relationships, even life for granted. We owe it to ourselves to make the most of 2021. Please now welcome Mrs. Vosloo, Associate Principal in charge of Academics and Digital Learning, to the podium for the academic address.
In January 2020, I addressed the school at an academic awards ceremony in the Curie Hall. I stood under the bright lights with my colleagues behind me, looking at the learners and the parents of Parklands College. I spoke about the 3 Gs: grit, grace, and gratitude, and how my earnest wish was for each Parklands learner to develop these skills in our world-class academic environment of classrooms, innovation spaces, laboratories, and studios. Today I address a camera as we celebrate the very best of our academic achievers for the year in a world that has completely changed since January 2020. Good evening, directors, educators, guests, parents, and learners. 2020 was indeed a year of grit, grace, and gratitude. But never in our wildest dreams could we ever conceive a world where the classrooms, innovation spaces, laboratories, and studios would stand empty for months as our learners stayed in their homes, sheltering from a pandemic. And yet, here I stand, celebrating another successful academic year at Parklands College. The success of 2020 lies with our learners who took on the challenges of online learning and with the guidance of the educators showed their grit. As a mum, my own children transitioned to online learning and my household becomes something akin to chaos. The children's bedrooms became classrooms, my living room became a dance studio, and a little Lego Mindstorm robot named Technoviper took over most of our floor space. And we became accustomed to hearing the teachers' voices and the classroom laughter everywhere in the house. And who will forget the challenge of making sure I was not seen in my pajamas in the background, or frantically cleaning the spaces that might land up on camera. You would think that, as a teacher, school from home in my house would be peaceful and well organized. I have to burst that bubble and share that I, like many other parents, allowed my children to bend so many rules that I wondered if my family routine would ever return to normal again. May I add that just because I'm a teacher does not mean that my children magically turned into academic angels. There were fights over device time, doing schoolwork, and making sure that we actually paid attention to our teachers rather than sneaking open another tab. There were incidents where the camera was switched off when it was supposed to be on. And while teaching my own maths classes, I was also on the receiving end, seeing icons on screens that never respond when you ask them a question, knowing that they found something more interesting to do in the background. I give enormous amounts of credit to the educators here at Parklands for their unending patience, unwavering efforts in engaging my children, and their capacity for kindness. The chaos around us all not only humbled my desire to run a tight ship, but it also gave me insight into the wonderful world of education at Parklands College. I was given the opportunity to observe Parklands from a perspective as a mother who just wants what is best for her children. And without a doubt, my children got the best from Parklands College and its educators. I have tremendous respect and admiration for our educators and will be forever grateful. Teachers, you are indeed the superheroes of 2020. The pandemic has been a paradigm shift for all sectors of society. Some of the changes that we have seen to our daily lives will stay with us permanently, and others may fade into distant memory. However, one thing has been made crystal clear by the COVID-19 crisis, that being the shifts in education and its priorities in our new normal. The traditional mode of education, content, and modes of delivery are now not just questionable in the light of rapid technological changes and advancements, but in their effectiveness too. As educators, we are preparing our learners for a world of work that frequently is unknown to us and which can evolve over mere months. And 2020 was the perfect example of the unknown. We at Parklands encourage learners to think outside of the box and beyond the physical walls of the classroom, and to practice the mental agility and the academic rigor the world requires of our young people. The academic pathway at Parklands is mapped with flexibility, adaptation, and use of technology to provide an enhanced learning experience. These attributes are without a doubt the key to our learners' academic successes, even when the rest of the world appears to be adrift. At Parklands, we had to change our ways of doing things. However, the widespread adoption and availability of technology at Parklands contributed to the ease with which this transition was able to happen. It has proven to be critical to our school's excellent results pre-pandemic and in our new normal. Our long-held future-focused relationships with both Apple and Google in education have shown that we provide an environment where learners are prepared for an ever-changing world. I am so proud of all our learners who, thanks to the way in which we scaffold teaching and learning here at the college, as well as their own grit, were able to show that academic excellence is a constant at Parklands College. The awards tonight are a demonstration of our collective commitment to the ethos of the Parklands Mind, and it brings an excitement, an expectation of what 2021 will hold for us. Tonight, we celebrate the very best of our academic achievements. These awards are the fruit of the learners' capacity for determined hard work, despite the adversity they face, and their commitment to exceed their individual best. It is impossible to stand here and celebrate what has been achieved and not feel inspired by these unique individuals and their efforts. I want to end with this quote. Sometimes we are tested not to show our weaknesses, but to discover our strengths. Thank you. It is also my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Pierre Marie. Pierre is now based in New York and appearing on Broadway, started his career in musical theatre here at Parklands College with the lead role of Seymour in our very first production, Little Shop of Horrors, in 2008. Even then, we all knew that he had something very special, star quality and heaps of talent. Who knew that through this experience a passion would be ignited? 2 years later, he played Rooster in Annie, balancing his academics and leadership role as head boy in his matric year. Pierre was a brilliant performer, musician, public speaker, debater, and avid sportsman, and ended his matric year achieving distinctions in all his subjects, the top learner of 2010. The world was his oyster, and he chose one of the hardest professions in the world to succeed in, a professional actor in musical theatre on Broadway. Pierre has been seen in several Broadway and Broadway touring shows over the past few years. After Parklands, Pierre was a graduate of the New York Film Academy and most recently has been seen in Aladdin on Broadway as a member of the ensemble and the Aladdin understudy. Pierre has also worked in TV and film, including playing the young Scorpion King in Scorpion King 2, Rise of a Warrior, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's son in the film Wake of Death, and you can see him most recently in Black Beauty, now on Disney+. A talented young man and a proud product of Parklands College. Please welcome Pierre Marie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pierre Marie. Before I start, I just want to say thank you so much to Parklands for having me speak at this event. It's an incredible honor to speak at a time where I think if we were in normal circumstances, I wouldn't have been available or able to speak and share some of my journey with you. So I want to say I'm very grateful to the board of directors, the principals, the faculty, the students, the parents, everyone watching this for allowing me to speak and share some of my journey in education from when I was at Parklands to after. I find myself in an interesting position because my memory of this event is that it is incredibly formal, and so it should be, but even though I'm sitting here in a blazer, I'm also not wearing shoes, and I'm sitting in my apartment in New York City, and I'm delivering this address to exactly 0 people. So I find that if I'm going to be overly formal, I think it might feel disingenuous. So I don't want that, and I'd love for what I have to say to connect with people. So I'm just going to tell a couple stories tonight that are anecdotes from my journey and frame them through the lens of education in terms of what I've learned since being out of school for 10 years now. The first of which is that when I moved to New York City and broke my mom's heart and told her, hey, I want to be an actor, I don't want to pursue anything in law or in the sciences, the first thing I noticed was that in taking professional class in New York City, the people beside me in class were Broadway performers. And that really immediately shifted my paradigm and my understanding around what it means to be educated. Because these were people I aspired to be like and who inspired me every day. And they were in class with me. And they had an understanding that education is a journey and not a destination. And that is so incredibly important to know and to live. And they knew the importance of continuing to learn, to go back and relearning something you've already learned so that it seeps deeper into your understanding. There is a difference between knowing something and truly being educated. And I think Parklands always inherently understands that. They're always giving new opportunities and new methods to study and to learn. And I think even with that, they encourage, if not force, the teachers to always adapt new styles and to learn a new app or something that is on the front end of technology. And they do this so that your teachers are learning simultaneously with you. Because what that isn't trying to instill is the difference between anyone can remember something, but not everyone can understand something. And when you truly understand something is when you're truly educated. And I think Parklands always encourages that, and parts of me definitely knew that in high school, but I think that when I moved to the city and understood and saw people who were inspiring me, continuing to learn, it made me really understand that education doesn't stop at a point, that it's always continuing and it's always moving. The other story, and first of all, I also just want to say that I know that my South African accent is all over the place. It's, I've been here for 10 years now, and this is just sort of what I sound like. But I'm aware, I thought I'd be one of those South Africans whose accent never changed, but mine did, and it just sort of is what it is now. But the other story I want to tell is that it has to do with my first Broadway heartbreak. And I was 8 callbacks deep into a process of a show called A Bronx Tale, and it was directed by Robert De Niro, and I had my 8th callback, and there were 40 people in the room, from the producers, the choreographers, and the casting. Everyone was there, and I was having one of my final dance callbacks, and the choreographer asked me to perform a very technical move that I didn't know how to do at that point. And he asked me after the combination, can you do this thing? And I said, unfortunately, I can't. And he said, that's no problem, and they still called me back for the next day. And when you repeat the process in those environments, he asked me again, can you do this move? And I said, yes, I can, and I did it. And when I did it, he looked at me and he said, I remember now, you told me you couldn't do that yesterday. And I said, yes, but I went home and I learned how to do it, and then I figured it out. And the whole room buzzed, and it was a really positive experience. And that moment changed my life. And the reason for that is, twofold. The 2 things that I grabbed from that is, first of all, it's never too late to study. And I think I always encourage, I don't encourage anyone to leave anything to the last minute, but I think there is something to be said about not giving up. I think if you're in a place where an exam or a piece of material seems insurmountable, know that continuing to try, continuing to learn to the end can be very valuable. You don't know how much you can learn when you're under pressure. And that if something ever feels incredibly difficult because of how much needs to be done or how late it's been left, what I would encourage in that situation, first of all, to try not to get in that position, but second of all, if you are, to not give up. And the second thing I learned about that is, unfortunately, I didn't actually even end up getting that job. But 6 months later, I got a phone call from someone who was in that room that day, and they asked me to join the Broadway company of Aladdin. And the reason that they wanted to work with me was because they saw in that environment that I was adaptable. And if there's a word that I could use for this time, if there's a word that I can use for education, it is the word adapt, and to be adaptable. Because I can guarantee you that no matter what career that you're looking to pursue, by the time you are doing it, it will be categorically different than it looks now. Even in being a performer, things are different. I'm sure the teachers can relate to this. When they wanted to be a teacher, the way it looked then is not how it looks now. The way it looks to be a lawyer is different than it looked when I was 18. And so the word adapt, to be adaptable, is paramount to your success. It's paramount, it's been paramount to success in a pandemic, and will continue to be paramount in your success in whatever it is you're endeavoring to do with your life. There really is no more important thing in the world than to be able to change and to be able to move and to be able to grow. And I just wanted to say from my story that being open to continuing to be educated, being open to adapt, changed my life. And I think that it can truly do the same thing for you, and whatever your specific love is, whatever your specific pursuit is, it can affect you identically if you allow it to, and you allow yourself to be open for that kind of change. And I just want to say thank you again so much to Parklands for having me. I'm wishing you all a safe and happy holidays. Thanks and good night.
What an extraordinary young man. Thank you, Pierre, for your wise words. Let us start with a few words for the award recipients tonight. If you receive half colours tonight, you will be awarded a certificate and a badge. If you receive colours tonight, you will also be awarded a certificate and a badge, but you will need to submit your blazer for braiding around the arm. If you receive honours tonight, you will be awarded a certificate and a badge, and in addition to this, if you qualify for college honours, the blazer must be ordered through the school from ARC Sportswear. These procedures will all be discussed with the recipients of the Honours Awards. The certificates and badges will be available from reception next week, and the souvenir booklet will be published in tomorrow's blog. However, if you want a hard copy, it can be collected from reception on Monday. We would like to thank Georgia Hadjidakis, Richard Graham, Bev Prince, Caroline Slubber, and Leanne Steinberg for their generosity in donating the book prizes for tonight. We now come to the awards presentation. Before we move on to tonight's academic awards, we would like to acknowledge the following learners who were not acknowledged at the last quarter of 2020. Half colours in technology go to Nasema Dekeni, Federico Cavallaro, Leah Frank, Matwelenga Nku. Colours in dance is awarded to Kristen Jennings. Colours for debating and half colours for service go to Imani Chiamala. We now move to the academic awards. We start by acknowledging the Grade 6 Top Achiever of 2020 in the Senior Preparatory Faculty. The Top Achiever of Grade 6 in 2020 is Naya Naidu. We now continue to the Laurel Awards. A laurel can be presented to any learner, both GET and FET, who excels in an academic subject by representing the college in an Olympiad or Expo on a national or international noteworthy level. Candidates for this award are nominated by the subject leader and approved by the awards committee. This award can be awarded on 3 different levels: gold, silver, and bronze. The number of entrants in the competition or category will also be taken into consideration when deciding on whether or not to grant the award. Nationally, the individual must have placed in the top 20% for a bronze laurel, in the top 10% for a silver laurel, and in the top 1% for a gold laurel. Achieving Silver Laurel Awards. Andre Rousseau for his achievements in the South African Mathematics Olympiad. Kaelan Chetty for his achievements in the South African Mathematics Olympiad. Amelia Oshman for her achievements in the Proverto Olympiad. And Cameron Abramson for her achievements in the Proverto Olympiad. Achieving a Bronze Laurel Award, Jana Grobler for her achievements in the Afrikaans Olympiade. Moving on to half colours and colours. Half colours are awarded in grades 7 to 9 to those who've achieved an aggregate of 80% or more for their 2020 academic results, which includes the final examinations. Half colours in grade 7 in 2020 for an aggregate of over 80% are awarded to Morgan Smith, Ivan Tampon Njamu, Kaylee Barnes, Carolina Fourie, Ruben Ritov, Gemma Boswell, Julia Lichtholm, Taya Pether, Mia Singh, Akshay Chandaman, Tashin Ramsamy, Declan Saul, Raid Gangat, Liam Loxton, Carl Warrender, Amy Kate Wood, Alexandra Bester, Julia Fourie, Shaluva Mandale, Amber Stain, Leo Adriansen, Sophia Freelinghouse, Gabriel Lowe, Andrea Mannings, Morgan Santo, Jack Nistat, Jake Plazunkel. The Ankia Forsley Junior Mathematics Trophy for grade 7 goes to Caitlin Zelai. Moving on to the top 3 positions in grade 7 in 2020. Half colours in academics and 3rd position in grade 7 in 2020 go to Nicole Apsey and Angelique Minkalu. Half colours in academics and 2nd position in grade 7 in 2020 goes to Carl Gilmore. Half colours in academics and the book prize for the top achiever in grade 7 in 2020 goes to Caitlin Zelai. In grade 8, half colours in grade 8 in 2020 and an aggregate of over 80% are awarded to Luca Kutsia, Kira Shelton, Tamron Edmondson, Michaela Gravenstein, Emily Jane Dock, Zara Leesk Baggerson, Umanati May, Zach Musikanth, Callum McKechnie, Jamie Williamson, Ashley Fiamingo, Tamlin Gravenstein, Marpi Malomo, Sitara Naidu, Dante Bologna, Nathan Gayer Holmes, Kishan Ramkilawan, Elijah Van Sale, Indy Burning, Wudendeni Tsongwani, Troy Diab, Willem van Jaarsveld, Matthew Nell, Isabella de Souza, Kobe Human, and Ruben Prinsley. The top 3 positions in grade 8 in 2020. Half colours in academics and 3rd position in grade 8 go to Gemma Stearns and Paige de Rougeau. Half colours and 2nd position in grade 8 in 2020 goes to Rohanzo Zinyana, Jean-Michel de Blanche, and Imra Sali. Half colours in academics and a book prize for the top achiever in grade 8 in 2020 goes to Talia Mudley. Grade 9s of 2020. The Madame Bailey Trophy for the top GET achiever in French as a 2nd additional language goes to Nicola Simpson. The GET Francophone Trophy is shared by Camila Colombo Ngoye and Henry Savory Jackson. The Steyn Junior Art Trophy is awarded to Ruby McCulloch. The Craig Trophy for diligence in the GET phase is awarded to Dohu Panay. Half colours in grade 9 in 2020 for an aggregate of over 80% are awarded to Chantal Mayberg, McKenna Nell, Andre Rousseau, Laura Shen, Camille Colombo Ngoy, Iman Buertas, Anna Roshkov, Nasema Dekeni, Jodie Kaiser, Dohu Panay, Ioanni Papadakos, Ethan Stopforth, Boheng Zhu, Jade Cedras, Tegan Gore, Norman Rousseau, Henry Savory Jackson, Danae Ben-Hare, Aidan Borowski, Tato Madisha, Jordan Abrams, Federico Cavallaro, Ethan Morgan, Catherine Sherlock, Daniel Stewart, Tristan Hardy, Amy Lichthelm, Uda Sachurin, Jade Bremner, Sebastian Innes, Caitlin Pinar, Kayla Prinsloo, Bryce Pinaki, Joshua Sawade, and Julia Fianda. The top 3 positions in grade 9 in 2020. Half colours in academics and 3rd position in grade 9 in 2020 goes to Matwalenga Nku and Nicola Simpson. Half colours in academics and 2nd position in grade 9 2020 goes to Heidi Rousseau. Half colours in academics and a book prize for the top achiever in grade 9 to Ruby McCulloch. Moving to the FET phase, the grade 10s of 2020. We would first like to acknowledge the winners of the grade 10 Unicorn Award for their movie Gen Z. The winning production team of Gen Z are awarded the Furwood Film Trophy. Jessica Pillay, Brooke Elliott, Justin Kutsia, Emile de Klerk, Alexandra Papavasilopoulos. The trophy for the most improved learner in life sciences in grade 10 is awarded to Dion Bognick. The Sophocles Cup for the top achiever in grade 10 dramatic arts goes to Brooke Elliott. The grade 10 hospitality trophy goes to Sandhya Naidu. The grade 10 dancer trophy goes to Isabella Fourie. Half colours in the FET phase are awarded for an aggregate of over 75% for the academic year. Half colours in grade 10 for an aggregate of over 75% in 2020 are awarded to Tatum Coleman, Christopher Barrows, Chloe Singh, Anna Combrink, Alessia Gironi, Connor van der Hoofen, Alexandra Papavasilopoulos, Taylor De Freitas, Dion Bognick, Kira O'Sullivan, Monica Ikwamere, Sadira Mamdu, Gregory Bunn, Aluta Mti. Colours in the FET phase are awarded to those who achieved an aggregate over 80% for the academic year. Colours in grade 10 for an aggregate of over 80% in 2020 are awarded to Michaela De Pinto, Carla Bognick, Emile de Klerk, Leah Miller, Kaylin Shelton, John Abramson, Bianca Altini, Manuela De Silva, Kate Hughes, Shay Merritt, Marian Minkulu Mzi, Jade Apsey, Isabella Fourie, Jared Fisser, Isabella Cutton, Matthew Jennings, Chris Boshoff, Justin Kutsi, Savas Hajidakis, Tori Lotz, and Brooke Elliott. The top 3 positions in grade 10 in 2020. Colours in academics in grade 10 for an aggregate of over 80% in 2020 and 3rd position go to Emily Grace Prince and Jessica Pillay. Honours in the FET phase are awarded to those who have achieved an aggregate of over 90% for the academic year. Honours in academics in grade 10 for an aggregate over 90% in 2020 and 2nd position go to Sandra Naidu. Honours in Academics in Grade 10 for an aggregate of over 90% in 2020 and a book prize to the top achiever in Grade 10 go to Mila Lisk-Baggerson. We now move on to Grade 11s of 2020. The Barrow-Brougham Family Trophy for diligence as an English foreign language speaker is awarded to Fernaldo Mateus. The trophy for the most improved learner in life sciences in Grade 11 goes to Twenga Maguga. The Shakespeare Cup for the top achiever in Grade 11 dramatic arts is awarded to Matthew Dale. The Grade 11 Hospitality Trophy goes to Nika Lee Island. The O'Malley Award for exceptional progress in physical sciences goes to Milena Fegan. The Grade 11 Mathematics Trophy is awarded to Jana Grobler. Half colours in Grade 11 for an aggregate of over 75% are awarded to Zoe Klaassen, Katlego Ngubeni, Hayden Visser, Robert Loepscher, Omar Abashir, Taylor van Beek, Twenga Maguga, Cassidy Wilson, Mujahid Sali, Mia Williams. Colours in Grade 11 for an aggregate of over 80% in 2020 are awarded to Morgan Gibson, Peter Ratulovsky, Jade Turnbull, Milena Fegan, Maya Smadema, Darushan Pillay, Joshua Kilombe Moape, Raquel de Castro, Shreya Singh, Thor Hamliness, Annika van der Walt, Tanaka Pedro, Christine Gregg, Lauren Mulder, Noah Nang Ikomia, Kara Simun, Ashley Mulder, Luan van Heerden. Honours in the FET phase are awarded to those who achieved an aggregate of over 90% for the academic year. The top 3 positions in Grade 11 in 2020. Honours in Academics in Grade 11 for an aggregate of over 90% in 2020 and 3rd position go to Nika Lee Island. Honours in Academics in Grade 11 for an aggregate of over 90% in 2020 and 2nd position to Cameron Abramson and Amelia Oshman. Honours in Academics in Grade 11 for an aggregate of over 90% in 2020, the Miriam Denton Trophy for the top achiever in Grade 11, and a book prize to the top achiever in Grade 11 go to Jana Grobler. We now come to College Honours, the highest accolade the college awards to a learner. Candidates for College Honours must have achieved colours in at least 4 of the following 6 spheres recognised by the college: academics, sport, culture, technology, service, and/or leadership. The individuals who manage to achieve this before the end of their matric year get the privilege of wearing the Parklands College Honours tie along with their navy blue blazer. College Honours for leadership, academics, culture, and service are awarded to Annika van der Walt and Milena Fegan. This concludes our Honours and Academics ceremony. Thank you for joining us online. Congratulations again to all of the learners, and enjoy the rest of your evening.